Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the Outback Al,
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm Envy Jitters.
and we're back once again. We're going green because we are enjoying the diverse and interesting filmography of voice actor Dan Green. I know this is not how this started this month, but you know what? It's where it's at now, and we're enjoying the hell out of it, aren't we? Aren't we?
Crickets.
Well, I liked this one better than Viva Pinata.
That's not saying much. That's a very low bar to clear.
Yeah.
At least this one had decent animation in it.
I think it had decent animation. I think it had. Well, okay, all right. We clearly have a contested opinion there.
No.
What didn't you like about the animation?
I don't know. It just... Lines are too thick. It looks really weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I guess I like a certain style when it comes to anime drawing, and this was just not it.
Did we mention what the name was?
Ultimate Muscle.
Right. I could not remember from 5 seconds ago if we said it or not.
We did not.
My brain's losing it a little bit. Yeah, so Ultimate Muscle. Basic premise, there are evil wrestlers from outer space who came to body slam the human race. And now we have to have alien protectors from Planet Muscle come down to save us with the Muscle League of Wrestling. That's it. That's the whole plot of the show. And we follow our intrepid hero, Kid Muscle.
Yep.
I'll just say this right now. The premise of the show, I actually don't mind. I think it's kind of entertaining for what it was, but
Yeah.
I could not stand the main character.
No, yeah. I watched this with Yin, and they described him as Zenitsu if he was a main character from Demon Slayer.
You know, they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong at all. And yeah,
I just started watching Demon Slayer. Which one is he?
he's the blonde
You
one.
probably-
If you
Ah,
just started, you
yeah.
probably haven't seen him yet.
Yeah, I'm only on like episode 6, so...
He
I think he
might
comes
have
in
shown
around
up,
episode 9 or something like that.
I mean, he
Well,
might have
no,
shown up like
he
there,
showed up.
but
He was there very briefly
yeah,
when
you don't.
they got done with the first test.
Yeah, that was like your shonen. Oh, we're gonna take a look at every character, but you're not actually gonna get to know who these people are until like 20 episodes later.
We're gonna take
So I'll
a
say
look
that
at.
Demon Slayer is not gonna take you that long to get to know him.
We're gonna take a couple different characters and have you get to know them a little bit, but not all of them.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of the same thing was happening here because this is a bit of a shonen too. Whenever we get to the wrestling league, the muscle league. I want to say before anything else that I did enjoy this because Envy, like you, I enjoy the premise of this. And I also thought the dub was a little bit better than some of the other dubs we've been seeing lately. I actually got some legit laughs out of a few things.
Yeah,
But-
the trainer kind of has that Mickey from Rocky kind of vibe.
I was getting, with his short stature, I was thinking a little bit more Phil from Hercules.
Yeah.
But they're kind of based on the same. Yeah, Phil's based on Mickey anyway. So, but no, what I was actually reminded of a lot of this. Did you guys watch Dexter's Lab when you were a kid?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the segments of the show about Monkey?
The superhero teams all...
Yes.
Yeah.
Monkey.
Do you guys remember the specific episode where Rasslor came down to planet Earth to destroy the planet, and he was played by Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yes.
Sort of.
Yes.
I
Holy
had
crap.
flashbacks that I was enjoying myself so much. I mean, I almost wish we could go through some highlights of this series just to see if someone does do a Macho Man Randy Savage impression, because a lot of people are doing impressions in this show. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them possibly problematic in today's climate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you get away with a couple of these.
I think with just how wrestling is like basically like a form of entertainment.
It's a soap opera.
Can't, yeah,
with-
you
with
can't
more
basically.
fighting.
Yeah, you can't have like an anime show and not expect people to sort of like harken back to things that we already know, which
Yeah.
with the impressions is I guess where they were going with that.
I really love Dan Green's one, but we'll get to that overall thing. Should we go to the plot first, or what do we want to start with?
Start from the beginning.
All right, let's talk plot. So there is a new wrestling league an evil wrestling federation that came to Earth in the form of a giant fist. And they beat up the Muscle Wrestling League, led by King Muscle, who they were the protectors of the universe kind of thing. Like Power Rangers, but with muscles and, wrestling moves. And his patented butt buster signature move, which, fantastic name for a signature move. And then they lost. The Muscle League lost, and now they're in dire straits, and the Earth is, it's been left victim to the DMP, which they don't actually know what DMP stands for, but they came up with some random names. The announcer came up with some random names, who is Brock from Pokemon, by the way. Love that guy. He also narrated One Piece, I believe. Let's see here. And then we meet our protagonist, Zenitsu, or Kid Muscle, or whatever you want to call him for now, who is a complete coward, doesn't know how to wrestle, and is not worthy of the title King Muscle that he is supposed to inherit one day. And apparently it's up to him to save the world because he has access to Super Saiyan mode. I mean, Ultimate Muscle. And they stick him on a ship. He goes to Earth. He meets one of the DMP, I'm assuming a low-level guy named... Oh, God, what was his name? It was something really redundant. Adversarius. I love a lot of the names in this show, by the way. That's not one of them, but... so he fights Adversarius, unlocks the Ultimate Muscle, unfreezes his trainer, Mickey, Phil, Meat, whatever his name is. Little baby boy. And he beats up Adversarius, and then the Muscle League comes down and takes him up into a mothership, and then he meets all of the other people in episode 2. Which, it's not a bad intro for your show. Get the basic fight stuff down, get some lore down, put down your, quite frankly, very annoying protagonist. Like, I feel like if this was an actual wrestling thing, I probably would not follow his storylines as much as some other people's. But that's me. I don't know how everybody else feels.
I mean, I personally just wouldn't watch the show.
Not a wrestling fan?
I mean, not really. Just never really been something I've been very interested in.
I gotta think, this is actually kind of, well, not relevant to us, but like semi-relevant, because I know The Undertaker is retiring this year.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah. Shame. I do remember watching some of his stuff. I haven't always been the biggest wrestling fan, but I do like some of like the big personalities that you see every now and then. You guys obviously know I like them. I like the Macho Man. Oh, yeah. And like some other stuff like that. But I always kind of enjoy just the weird pop culture caricature that is created around them.
I mean,
the personalities are fun.
They are playing characters.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like it's any, different from like just acting out a show. It's just they do a lot of their own stunts.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive. But back to animation, I suppose. We should talk about them. We meet the Wrestling League in the second one, or the new Wrestling League, because they're all going to go get trained and stuff. And it's a whole lot of people with gimmicks. I do think, like, what's his face? Kid Muscle, like, would say, "Oh my God, it's a Village People workout video." And they have occasional funny lines. I think their funniest lines are just when they're not, like, they're trying to swear, but they're not swearing. Or, like, getting to the cusp of it. But I don't remember everybody's name from the new batch of Muscle League wrestlers, except for one. You guys know who it is? Dick Van Dyke. I cannot believe they got away with that on TV.
I remember the Walrus guy because because his voice actor was in Kirby Right Back at Ya.
So was Dick Van Dyke. He was Meta Knight.
And I remember the Canadian stereotype.
Oh, the Canuckler?
Yeah. I think there was a bunch of other offensive stereotypes too. I can't remember all of them.
Kinda, but love Dick Van Dyke. Which, if you don't know, look up a Dick. Not spelled how you think it is. It's a tiny deer. So, that's a little something for you. But I guess he's a tiny deer who is also a giant muscular man. Anyway, they're going to Hero Academy, or Hercules Academy, or whatever it is, and they're getting instructed by the Old League, who is led by, Dan Green doing a Sean Connery impression. I love it. I love every moment that he is talking is just, it's music to my ears.
I guess that's kind of fitting since he passed away recently.
Oh, God. Undertaker's retiring. Sean Connery's dead. This year sucks.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, they're all being trained, and of course we get our Bakugo character, or Sasuke character, or Vegeta character, or like, take your pick of angry boy, rival, but also might be your friend, co-protagonists, side characters. I don't know the specific term for it, but you know what I'm talking about. The
ensemble.
Yeah,
the rival character.
Yeah, apparently their dads wrestled together, and the one guy never wanted any glory, and he's like got this weird like Texas accent going on. And he's like has this whole flashback sequence of he's like, man, you did all the work in these matches, but you let King Muscle get all the glory. What about you? Oh, son, I don't need no glory. And he's like, you suck, Dad. I hate you. And well, you're gonna get punishment. And
Jesus Christ.
It's there's let's just throw it out there. There's a lot of daddy issues going on throughout this entire show. Like, everyone is the son of somebody else from, like, a former Muscle League whatever thing. And everyone's got butt hurt because of whatever else happened in the last generation of wrestlers and that. But yeah, they're going through muscle training at Hercules' place. And they're learning how to do wrestling moves in the deadliest of circumstances. And Muscle sucks. There's no other way to put it. He just sucks at what he does.
Yeah, he gets a brief boost whenever he gets into Ultra Instinct, aka Ultra Muscle, but that's about it. That's all he can do.
It turns on for weird things like, oh, you dropped my mom's cooking on the ground. Well, now you're going to pay. Or
maybe it's like when he's like determined or something like that.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would ever have determination. I don't know. Anyway, turns out one of the forgettable ensemble characters was not a forgettable ensemble character. He was the evil boa robot snake wrestler person. And he traps Kid Muscle in a titanium cage. It's a cage match, and they can't get out until one of them goes down. And he tries to do the butt buster, but oh no, snakes don't have butts. I think. They might. They do, but they're not like our butts. That's all I was thinking, but it turns out he's just like, yep, you can't do it if you don't get me in a headlock. I'm like, okay, we'll go with that instead of how do you bust a butt which has no butt? I think that would have been the more interesting conversation to have for this episode. Kind of like, did you guys watch the any of the new Animaniacs yet?
No,
I haven't seen it.
There was at one point where they posited a question that I hope philosophers think on for a very long time. If I were to eat myself, would I become twice as large, or would I disappear?
I mean,
just you don't need an answer. It's just something to think about.
I mean, it
it's a
depends on
philosophy.
how fast you eat yourself.
Yeah, I'm sure that would affect it somehow.
Because, I mean, if you eat yourself, but. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop talking because we don't want to get into too disgusting of a territory. And this is YouTube.
Speaking of, I think there was just a bunch of points in this where we're talking about busting butts or giving someone a pounding or just grunting in general, that if you're not watching the show visually and you're just listening to it, it sounds like something dirty.
Oh yeah, like how on YouTube there's the compilations of blank without context. Well, I could imagine this one being.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a show that needs context. Otherwise, you're like, "What the hell are you watching?" But yeah, so the good old boy gets. I don't know. Something happens. He gets over his daddy issues in record time for an anime character. Let's all round of applause for that.
It's almost as if he thought about it, and it's like, maybe I was full of shit the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, this character arc lasted about a whole 8 minutes, and then he spits peanuts at supersonic speeds at the boa constrictor, breaking and making a bunch of buttholes on his body, which, of course, means Kid Muscle can butt bust those butts. Holes. He breaks the snake. Oh, I should have been making a Jake the Snake reference this whole time. God damn it. I'm missing the outfit. You know what? I'm gonna call Texas Boy Honky Tonk Man. There we go. There's a reference we can go with. Anyway. Moving on, we have it's final examination day at the Hercules Academy, and a giant hand pops out of the ground. Each finger has a wrestling ring on it, which is like, I think no, we saw wrestling rings in the second episode, but the final challenge is a match between the new Muscle League and the old Muscle League. They have to beat their trainers to join the league. And the first people up are, of course, a very racist caricature named Samo, who I
that's the one who I was thinking of earlier.
Yeah. I just love that Dan Green keeps calling him Shamu. Because we kept thinking he was talking about the whale. But he wasn't. And he's fighting against another racist caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was a different time in 2002.
I completely missed all of what you just said.
Oh.
I actually cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, we're talking about Samo versus Ramen Man.
From episode 3, whenever they fight in the ring on the hands.
Yeah. But then, Honky Tonk Man is going to fight Buffalo Man, who is Russian for some reason. I don't know why they went with that. He seems like he'd be the one to have the Texas accent. But
maybe that's how they get you.
Yep. Speaking of getting them, Buffalo Man's like, hey, you better watch out for everything. By the way, here, let's have a good match. And he goes to shake Honky Tonk Man's hand, and Honky Tonk Man, being trusting of Buffalo Man, goes in for the handshake, but then Buffalo Man throws him smacks him around because, damn sportsmanship. I don't know. Then Shamu attacks Ramen Man, but he can't get past Ramen Man's defenses. Then Ramen Man takes him down, so he can't join the league, which from a PC perspective is probably for the best. But then we see, in his words, Buffalo Man is giving Honky Tonk Man a real pounding. And yeah, he's pounding him for minutes and minutes. But as it turns out, Honky Tonk Man has been blocking every single shot that Buffalo Man has been taking. So then he goes on the offensive and smacks around Buffalo Man. But then Buffalo Man taps his foot, which means he's going to charge. And then he charges, which is supposed to be like an unstoppable move that he does. But Honky Tonk Man counters, puts him in a headlock. and then a something else headlock, and then a something else headlock, and then, he takes down Buffalo Man. So Honky Tonk Man is in the new Muscle League. And now it's time for Kid Muscle to fight his opponent. And who else would it be than his own father?
Dun, dun, dun.
Cliffhanger, we will not watch the rest of the series.
Yeah.
There's like 70 more episodes. I have to assume he gets in the league.
Well, the 2002 series was like 50 episodes. I think the old 90s or 80s series was like 70 episodes. So it's like, wow.
Well, wait, was the 90s one the one that they dubbed in 2002? Maybe they just cut some stuff out. I don't know.
Maybe.
Hang on. This is what Wikipedia is for.
Wikipedia was a little bit misleading for me because, I think Ultimate Muscle is just an English dub name, and it's not the actual name of the series itself. So, but in any case, what are our overall thoughts of this series so far?
I mean, like I said, if there was a better main character, I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more because I like the ridiculous premise. It's just that every time Kid Muscle would just scream and whine and complain, I would just die a little inside.
Yeah, we have not talked about him much.
So, I found some sources. Okay, so the original anime was from the 1980s, which had 137 episodes.
See, this feels very 80s.
The one from the late 80s had 35 episodes.
Okay.
The one from the early 90s had 46. The one that we watched is originally from 2002, which has 51.
Okay.
And then Foxbox also did Ultimate Muscle 2, which was the second season that came out in 2004. And that had 26 episodes.
Okay, so that's how I was seeing 70 some episodes for this series.
There's just a shit ton. Also, there's just a shit ton of manga. They've got the original one started back in 1979.
Dude, I mean, this is a perfect premise for a long-running series.
Yeah.
You know how long wrestling storylines go for? And characters like that? Years. We were talking about Undertaker earlier. He's been in the game for 30 years.
So, yeah, original manga, including initial run and I believe the continued run that started in 2011, that's got 72 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could have probably seen myself watching it as a kid. It's just that main character is just so, and I understand maybe he grows more and gets more confidence, but maybe it's because I'm not as patient as I am before. But I was getting irritated every time he was whining.
I would not have watched this no matter what age I was.
That's fair.
Because this shit was dumb.
It was dumb, but I felt it was a fun kind of dumb.
Meh.
I don't think it's a meh. I think it's a nay for you, isn't it?
Yes, it's very much a nay for me.
Well, that's fine. Envy, I'm kind of with you. If this were back in the day before, I could binge watch anime or find it online in however many different places I can find it online, I might have watched this week to week. Maybe. At the very least, if it was on between shows that I really, really liked, I'd probably have watched it. But yeah. I don't know. This is difficult to say because this is a much longer running series. Well, not much longer. We've seen series Kirby was about the same length, if not longer, so.
Well, for me, I will say I am definitely not the target demographic here, so y'all probably have a little more authority on this than I do.
I don't think anyone's
But...
ever called me an authority on anything.
Well, I mean, your perspective is probably like a bit more significant than mine is, because this was not aimed at my demographic at all whatsoever.
I think when I was watching it with Yin, they described it as kind of like being like Dragon Ball meets My Hero Academia meets, again, Zenitsu. But it's about probably the kind of thing. Like, yeah, this does seem somewhat reminiscent, not of Dragon Ball Z so much, but of Dragon Ball back when they were like doing the world tournament thing. I don't know
So
if
like
you guys
the original
ever...
Dragon Ball show.
Yeah, when Goku was a kid. And you had... That actually was a really good tournament arc. With the World Martial Arts tournament that Master Roshi disguised himself to get into. And you just have like a bunch of random, weird and interesting personalities and characters and different fighting styles. And just, we haven't seen a whole lot of different fighting styles. It's a wrestling show. It's all going to be some general wrestling type stuff. But, you know, you're going to have some signature moves here and there. But, yeah, I definitely was reminded of that. And I think that's usually a good basis for getting a continuing audience, especially for like a shonen thing. Tournament arcs are great. I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels about them, but I like tournament arcs.
Depends on how they're utilized. Like My Hero Academia, its second season had a really great tournament arc, but then One Punch Man season 2, that was the worst part of the season, if you ask me.
It depends on how long they go on for.
See, I can see why it would absolutely work for My Hero Academia. Because it also worked in like Yu Yu Hakusho for the Dark Tournament, or the Chunin exam for Naruto, or, you know, name your tournament arc. I don't think that it would usually work for something like One Punch Man, though, because we know how it's going to end with One Punch Man. That's kind of the joke.
I mean, to be fair, I thought the second season of One Punch Man was average at best.
We all... Yeah, it probably shouldn't have changed studios or waited as long or let its development team run off.
My problem wasn't the animation. Granted, the animation was nowhere near as good. My biggest problem was that I thought the story was shit, and that's the same story as the reboot manga. So,
yeah, its execution was a big problem for me, because like I remember reading that comic, that manga, and I was excited for season 2 because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get to see these things. I'm going to see the things that they're doing. And these things happened, but they didn't show to the full extent what happened in the manga. Like the big flashy moves or anything. Like it was underwhelming. And that is not something you should ever use to describe One Punch Man.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like inherently, because like ultimately the joke overall is Saitama comes in and just one punches the bad guy, it wouldn't lend itself to a tournament arc unless you're following the stories of the other people in the tournament, which we're not. The main character is Saitama, and that's pretty much it. I don't know. Yeah, I think probably that tournament failed for a couple of reasons. But that doesn't mean that those sort of arcs they work. I think they just have to work where you have a unique bracket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plus, I think it's also, yeah, obviously with tournament arcs, you know, you stay for, you know, you come for like the big fights and the, you know, the one-on-one duels, but at the end of the day, they're obviously meant to like showcase character development and like personal struggles between rivals. So it depends on how invested you are in the characters.
Yeah. I'd say in that regard, I think one of the best arcs in anime is the Chunin exam. I mean, that's like top tier for me. Maybe we'll watch that someday. Maybe we'll watch all of Naruto or One Piece or whatever. Has One Piece ever had a tournament arc?
I mean, I imagine in the over 900 plus episodes, they probably maybe did.
They have to.
I will sit out.
Yeah.
You
Anyway.
know I'm not a fan of Naruto.
I know, but I am.
Were you a fan of Naruto or Shippuden or both?
I watched both. But life started kind of getting in the way of watching the majority of Shippuden. I made it like halfway through before I had to, like, to be fair, I was watching it as it was coming out for the most part. And after a certain point, I was like, I couldn't wait week to week. So I read some of the manga and that, and like eventually I just kind of fell out of it, unfortunately. But I'm going to put that down as like like everyone has like their choice for the big three back in the day. And that was my camp. So.
Yeah, I mean the big three back in the day was like One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach.
Yep.
I was very much in a different center of the anime manga sphere.
No, I know.
I
You were with them Mew Mews and all
digesting.
that stuff.
No, not necessarily. I think by that point I'd gotten into Fruits Basket or on High School Host Club and God, one other show that I was I was into Death Note too. So that
the
was
other
my
big
camp.
three.
Yeah, I was like, okay, lots
I'm
of
like, if you
cuteness
said it
and romance,
Hitalia,
and then
I'd be
death.
like, that's the other big three.
Is it? I don't know. I
No,
feel
it's
like...
not. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, Death Note was big.
Maybe there's a huge rivalry between the Oron Fruits Basket and Hitalia fandoms. I would love to see what that fight would be like.
I mean, obviously, Death Note was probably the gateway anime for a lot of people growing up, and Ouran High School was a very popular one.
I mean, Death Note wasn't my gateway, but it was one of the big ones that I was into reading and watching, at least when I was in middle school.
Yeah, for me, Gateway was kind of like a lot of the earlier 90s stuff. Like, obviously, Pokemon was a thing for everybody at one point or another. But, like, I watched the early Toonami stuff with Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and, like, I didn't really watch Sailor Moon much, but even that, like, those were a lot of the ones that kind of got me into it. Like, what sustained me later was, like, newer shows like Naruto and Death Note and stuff like that, where I was kind of like, oh, okay. So, like, there is more of this that I can really, like, keep watching. And I got to give credit to Naruto for keeping me in the anime fandom for as long as I am.
I will say for me that, like, while these didn't get me into anime, like, they weren't my gateway, I did end up watching a lot of Gundam as a child. Like, not really knowing what it was.
Which one?
There's been like over 10 of them. If not more.
You're not even close to how many there have been. There is so much Gundam out there, but I feel like everyone has at least one Gundam series that they've watched the majority of.
I was, like, anywhere between the age of, like, 7 to 9 when I was watching it.
What was happening? What was their special gimmick for it?
I mean, the one that I really remember quite a lot was they were all animals. That's what I remember. But I'm not sure if that was even Gundam.
I'm sorry, what? Did you watch Beast Wars and think it was Gundam?
No, but like...
Were they all CGI? Was there a purple T-Rex?
There were a lot of, like, basically giant mechanical animals, was what I remember the mechs being.
Are you thinking of Zoids?
Yes, that was it.
Okay, I watched that one too. I did enjoy that. I had a bunch of those models. I actually might still have some of those somewhere.
Because the one thing I always remembered was the Liger, and I really
Yeah,
did
that's Zoids. That is 100% Zoids.
Okay.
That was the third season of Zoids, I think. Or third series or something. Liger Zero, the white one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Again,
that
6 to 9 years
show,
old.
That
I
whole
didn't
show was a
remember
tournament
lot of
arc.
it. I told you, I don't remember it.
Well, it was. It was literally an entire, like, the whole premise of that, they were a sports team of mech pilots.
Still don't remember it. It's not ringing any bells. I just remember a couple things from it.
That actually might have been just a thing that was going on, because, like, you see for, like, the longest time, like, Gundam, without a doubt, has always had like a big war element, but like also like the earlier Zoid series, which followed some different characters, it was also like a war thing and whatnot. But then eventually, it kind of translated over to like, oh, it's like more of it's not like people are at war anymore. It's like people are like having tournaments and like the Olympics kind of thing, but with these giant machines of death. Like, because that Zoids was coming out about the same time that the Gundam series that I had watched a lot of, I want to say it was G Gundam.
Yeah.
And that was like, oh, wait, I have to make sure it was that. But there was also another one that was also coming out at the same time in Toonami called IGPX, which was like combined mech battles with racing.
Don't remember that one. I remember a lot of giant robots.
Yeah, G Gundam, the Shining Finger thing. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Did you watch Evangelion years ago?
First time I saw it was in college.
Same.
It might have actually been too early for me to watch at the time that it came out in the States. Because it was made in 95, so it would have come over here in like 96, 7, 98.
Yeah.
Because, like, I didn't watch the original run of Bebop either, because that came out in, like, 1998 or 2000 over here, and I was, like, too young to we watch an Adult Swim at that point. But, yeah, we all eventually went back and saw those things, and they were fantastic.
I need to watch the original dub of Evangelion. I don't want to watch the Netflix version.
Oh, the ADV version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
originally watched it with subs. I thought it was okay, but I'm a sub snob. Y'all know this.
Oh, I'm dating a sub snob. It's fine.
It depends for me. Usually I prefer subs if it's like newer shows, but sometimes I like dubs.
I'll say for the speed of actually getting it, subs are pretty good because, you know, especially nowadays, we can just like simulcast or do whatever we have to do.
Yeah. Although dubs are coming out a lot faster.
They are.
Days.
I think they're getting, but I think it's a result of kind of the globalization of the market a little bit. It's like, you know, it used to be like a whole show had to basically be out in Japan and done before you could like buy it and license it in the States. But now it's like, oh, we're dubbing it the same time that they're like.
Well, that's because I think companies are gathering up. Well, I think that's because companies are gathering up licenses, like, as the shows are being made, and they're, like, making deals with the companies to, like,
yeah, it's just moving a lot faster. You're not, like, buying them piecemeal.
Yeah. So, I think it's also just the fact that, like, they can see, like, what's coming out, what they think will be popular with an American audience, and they'll just dub it over.
I think the only thing we kind of lose in that is like sometimes you could have creative decisions with a dub that just kind of, I feel like now they're really just a whole lot of translation.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's what it's supposed to be for the most part, but I feel like we're never going to see that, and maybe this is a good thing. I feel like we're never going to see that 4Kids age of like just really weird classic lines coming out of nowhere that just stick in your head.
Well, I think even at that, it's just more that they're trying to, like, find a good line that is age appropriate, sort of, but also make it sort of funny, to keep the people entertained. And now, I think a lot of the thing is a lot of the animes that, I don't know if this is just with stuff that, like, stuff that's being currently dubbed over, like, a lot of it is more for a teen and up audience.
Yeah, you're not gonna see as many for like kids nowadays because, well, I mean Pokemon or something like that, but like, I don't know.
I completely cut out again.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
So what were you saying?
I finished up with the being that most of it's for teens, and then I cut out.
Okay.
I finished my sentence, but I didn't hear what you guys said.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with you. A lot of it is for teens nowadays. I mean, you still have, like, stuff like Pokemon or, like, some other, probably anime that really aren't on our radar that are for kids and that. But
I mean, think of it this way, with the demographic that the Pokemon games are selling to, Pokemon's more of a for everyone kind of show rather than
for
just
everyone,
for children.
For everyone means PG, which is, I don't want to say is a kid's movie, but it's rated to be like anyone can watch or play or whatever. So it has to be kind of for kids.
Yeah. Today's PG is not the same as 70s and 80s PG.
Oh, hell no.
Of course not.
PG back in the 80s might mean you see tasteful side boob.
I mean, hell, Spaceballs was technically PG.
Yeah, you know the first PG movie? Yeah. Did you know the first movie that was rated PG-13 was Temple of Doom?
Yep, that movie literally caused the panic to get PG-13 because ripping out someone's heart and it catching on fire, that was that scared people.
They're like, technically, none of this is on our list of things that get you the R rating, but at the same time, this is not for children. So like, halfway point? Yeah. I don't know. PG-13 might have done a lot of... It might have done some good, but it might have done some harm as well down the line. Because I feel like, maybe there's a bit of a comeback coming for that, but I don't feel like we get enough, like, decent R-rated movies anymore.
Well, the problem is that if you have 2 F-bombs, you're automatically R.
Auto, yeah.
You only get 1 non-sexual F-bomb for a PG-13 movie.
Yep. You think you get a sexual F-bomb for free in a PG-13?
No.
Yeah.
If you say, I want to blank you, you're automatically R.
Yep. And then if you continue to describe how you want to blank them, you eventually get an X. But that's not for this podcast.
Nope.
Yet.
Hey
No.
now. Hey now.
I'm joking.
No.
But speaking of things that we're going to be watching, what do we watch next week?
Oh, that's a good point. We should bring that up. We've been going green, and I think that's a good thing. We haven't seen much of? We haven't seen much of Dan Green in a film performance. Do you think we should watch something like that?
I wouldn't mind watching a film again.
Yeah, a nice movie for the end of the month. Feels kind of classic anime, yay or nay. And I got a good one for you. We can watch, and like all of Dan Green's performances throughout this month, this is a very iconic performance where he plays actually an animal creature, and almost you could say it's a legendary animal of unstoppable power who, I don't know, might be able to straight up beat a dragon's ass in a fight. We all know what I'm talking about here. We're going green next week by watching The Little Panda Fighter. The Brazilian, how do we want to put it?
It's a 3D animated movie
from
that
Brazil.
You can find here on YouTube.
That it's Kung Fu Panda. We got no other way to say it. It's Kung Fu Panda, but it's not Kung Fu Panda. It's the Little Panda Fighter. It's the Little Fanta Fighter. Anyway, come join us for that. We're gonna go green. You can go green in Brazil. Or, I don't know, they have rainforests. There's something there to work with. I don't know. I feel like the joke is falling apart at this point, as are we. So, see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and feel free to check out some of our other gaming videos, our weekly podcast Anime Yay or Nay, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!